You're listening to The Watchers, a show where two women from opposite ends of New Jersey watch TV about motherfucking queer furries. Hallelujah! Praise be, they fucking did it. Thank you, the Pitt.
I have so much faith in this show.
I'm waiting for like the queer furry polycule that is definitely coming out of that hospital interaction. Anthrocon. They had to actually do this.
Yeah, there was a small part of me that thought that I'm Andrea.
Oh, yes, and I'm Jody.
And we watched season 2, episode 9.
Yep, 3 p.m.
That's right.
Directed by
Sean Hattasey. Beautiful episode.
Yeah, he did
some
a great
really
job.
Cool stuff in this one.
Yeah, he did a really good job. I very much enjoyed his direction.
Really like thoughtful kind of connection and continuity, which is what I was about to say. Is there was a split second where when you first see the furry and they're just kind of like in the background.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that would be a fun little wink or nod to Anthrocon for the people between seasons 1 and 2 who were insistent that the show didn't know Pittsburgh if we didn't see a furry, and they said, oh no,
we're really doing it.
Yeah. I have a prediction about that storyline. We will get to it. You just made yours,
yes,
which is similar to mine.
Okay,
but yeah,
I mean, Santos was aware of Anthrocon.
Oh, Santos was very aware.
I just want Santos to get a day off after whatever this 4th of July nightmare is, and hit up Anthrocon before the weekend's over, and find some fun folks to hang out with that are less non-committal than Garcia.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just do it, because I think what could happen is, or maybe not what could happen. What I am picturing, the story I want to tell myself that could happen, is Santos is about to leave. Garcia's like, "Oh, my plans were canceled. Do you want to hang out?" And it's when this furry comes in, and because the furry was like, "I think you'd make a good dragon," I was like, oh, they've got a friend back at the hotel with an extra costume.
Oh, yes.
And so then Santos is going to be stuck between Garcia and a furry and have to decide. And then she should show a little, like, not self-respect. That's too, like, whatever. But show a little...
like backbone.
That great, yeah. And say, like, oh, I made other plans.
Right.
And leave.
Just like Garcia did.
Uh-huh.
I'm all for that.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I don't think we're getting any of that, but it would be nice.
But it would be nice.
I want to see if there is a name for this person that we keep calling the furry on IMDb, because, yes, Elizabeth Hinkler.
That's right.
Her name is Iris.
Great.
Iris Hewitt. Okay, now we know. We can start calling her by her name and not just the furry.
It's a lovely name.
Iris, yes.
So many shots of that furry costume in this episode. They really were like,
yeah,
we're not here to tease.
My favorite one, though, is when Mel is bringing in Becca, and Becca just starts to follow Iris instead of going to the room. And Mel has to be like, no, Becca, this way.
Yeah, very relatable. Like, well, I got to check out what the hell this is.
Yeah, exactly.
The one where it's just kind of standing, the empty fursuit outside.
So good.
Really good stuff.
It made me so happy. One. I think we should probably check on our patients and do some rounds, and then whatever we don't get to about our doctors and nurses, we can kind of like cover at the end, if that makes sense.
I think so, especially because I think the two most important conversations we'll want to talk about are at the very end. Or the two most revealing, maybe, are kind of the very end. So that, I think that works. Yeah,
I mean, because there is a lot that happens, like, around the nurses' station this episode. There's a lot from that area, but I think some of it we'll just get to as we get to the patients, and then whatever we don't, we can kind of cover. Do we want to just start with Jude? It's kind of a big one, but it is also the first, and I think it sets up a lot for us.
Makes sense.
This poor kid. Oh, my God.
I know, and I don't remember... Well, we'll have to go back and listen. You and I made our wagers on how many... And I think I said 4, and you said one big one.
One big one.
So we're not. You're right about one big event already.
Yeah,
it wasn't quite what we were. But yeah, we've got time. We'll see.
We had to have a fireworks incident, but I did not want this one. I wanted some idiot, like, in his backyard, like some 50-year-old guy who just, like, not a poor little 12-year-old kid whose parents got deported. Jesus Christ.
This show cannot help but take a moment to teach a lesson.
I know.
I love this kid. They did such a good job of
He's so good.
I know I say this a lot. Like, something about this show is so good at getting perfect line reads out of actors who have no reason to be giving perfect line reads. And his "I fucked up" when he has that outburst is so good.
I know.
I was like, how did they get that out of this kid?
I know. He also, like, the way that I watched it again this morning. And when Robby asks him, do you know your mom or dad's telephone number? And he just says, no, but I know my sister's. And I did not clock that at all in the beginning. The thing that this one really did for me, obviously there's the PSA of like, hey, fuck ICE. But like, and I did hear some like rumors floating around that they kind of toned this story down a little bit because they were asked to.
Well, so I'm interested to see what else happens this season. Apparently, what they were told was that they needed to present both sides.
God,
and
for
that,
fuck's sake.
I know. And that, but the Pitt, I think, seems to be pretty strong in their convictions. Because, like, thinking about the measles episode, they presented both sides.
Yeah, they just presented one as dumb.
Right. And so they could do that and still be technically correct. So maybe there'll be more of a conversation. But if they couldn't do that if they didn't have the option to present it as correctly as they wanted to, I feel like better to do this than to cave and have somebody like, here's some good points. Like,
right. Yeah. These ICE officers have some,
they're people too. Like, there's none of that, at least.
Right. It's just like, it really hit home the idea that like, this happens to a lot of people on the 4th of July, and most people don't end up also then having to like have social services come to their house and worry about getting deported. Like, this poor kid. So obviously there's the PSA aspect of this. We get to see Dylan again, which I love. Love a return of Dylan, especially this very like the Dylan we've seen in the past has mostly been talking to other doctors. I love seeing Dylan talk to Chantal, and the sort of sympathy that they're showing is really beautiful.
Yeah.
But to me, the most important part of this is, once again, Santos is amazing with kids.
Yeah.
That is, pediatrics is her calling, regardless of what she thinks of it. Like,
She's so good.
The way that she says, look at me, and talks to him, and then he like grabs her hand with his good hand. I almost cried.
The way that she kind of readjusts to get a better hold too. Like, it's so good. She's so pure in her heart. There's just such a hard exterior, but it's not even that hard.
I know, it's not. And she's like reassuring him just in little ways the whole time. Like when he has to move his hand, she says like, good job. She's trying to put an okay spin on it. When she says like, you lost 2 fingers, but it seems like the rest are going to be okay.
I'm going to guess you didn't look when they unwrapped his hand.
I kind of did. It was like weirdly less disturbing than other things because it was so obviously fake.
It was so obviously fake, but what I like, there's been a few times on this show where they don't go for, like, it's gruesome because it's 2 missing fingers, but they could have like grossed it up. And I like that they don't do that. It just,
I mean, and the 2 fingers weren't there because they were blown to bits. Ugh. I mean, the whole thing is just I just felt so bad for the kid because clearly he is so distressed.
Of course.
He knows he's in trouble. But also there's so much more going on that we don't see right away.
And it's also, this is a little problem for me, but it's like, he thought it was a firecracker. It's not until, Robby's like, more like an M80 or a cherry bomb that it's like.
Yeah. And, he's 12 years old. He's left alone all day because his sister has to work, and there's kids down the hall that are like, come hang out. What are you going to do when you're 12 years old? You're going to go hang out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Chantal is really struggling. She has to work. She had to drop out of college when her parents got deported. And like their whole goal now is for him to graduate high school, which that's another or 6 years for her to have to hold this shit down.
Yeah, it's a long time.
That is rough.
And he's only 12. Like,
yeah,
she's like, those
the worst
years. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's like the last time you want to be just suddenly
raising a teenage
parent.
boy. Yeah, no, that's absolutely not. Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah. And Santos is really like, she's been so distracted so much this whole time. And we talked last week about how once she can no longer do her charting, like she'll be more like present. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's just because it's a kid, but she's definitely present for this.
Yeah. Huh. There were a couple of moments in this episode, and like I said earlier, beautiful episode, so well done, but a couple of moments where I had to go like, odd choice? Or were they trying to communicate something to us? And one of them is, I think it's when they're talking about the parents, and there is just a really long shot on Santos. And like her face sort of does something, but it almost feels to me like they didn't have a good enough shot for the other side. And knowing how they film, like, maybe. And so they just had to leave it on her. It was with the parents, because I was like, are we going to find out that Santos' parents were deported? Or
oh my God.
But I think it was just an editing thing, but maybe not.
The other thing that we get to see with this specific patient is Santos and Garcia, as we've already talked about, but the two of them interacting in an active case where you can see the like looks back and forth, specifically mostly from Santos at Garcia. But it really reiterated for me that power imbalance we keep talking about, because like Garcia is she is the OR.
Right.
So
the little pet hope I'd been holding until this episode was we were going to find out that the reason that Garcia has been cagey is that Garcia was trying to make things more serious, and Santos was being like tough trying to like not admit that she had feelings. But the way Garcia like yells, she doesn't really yell, but when she's like, we're just keeping it casual, it reminded me of being like, you can't sit with us, geek. Who said you can sit here?
Yeah. Or like Nurse Dana shouting HIPAA HIPAA breaking patient information across the nurse's station.
There's just no sense of discretion in this place.
Yeah. We also get a couple little updates on other patients during this time when they're talking about the kid going up for surgery. Mm-hmm. We find out that, this comes during the other insurance PSA that we get. So they say like he's in line for the OR about Jude, and then Garcia says might be a little bit of a wait. Ortho's still in with Alan Billings, that open shoulder dislocation that came back from Westbridge. He's still in surgery. He waited an hour to be cleared by anesthesia. Is the insurance company going to cover the cost of the surgery? Yeah, since Westbridge is still down, well, good, because the delay in care definitely increased the chance of a post-op infection. And then the real zinger at the end, you gotta love it when insurance companies make medical decisions. And then Garcia pauses and looks at the camera
and winks.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It really brings me so much joy whenever it happens. It's
just so funny.
It really cracks me up. I don't know where this goes because it's about last week, but I just thought of it and I want to say it. So sorry.
Okay.
Somebody online pointed out that right after Abbott and Mohan have their moment where he says he'll pay for the Uber, in the next scene in the nurse's station, in the background, you can see he's standing in front of the computer and she has her phone out. So he's like pulling up the patient's address, and she's...
Yeah. He's
perfect
actually doing
show.
it.
He's actually doing it, and they want you to know what's happening, but they're not going to like make a big deal out of it.
There's always so much going on in the background.
It's so fun to watch.
It's so choreographed, like in a really precise way.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Where do we think this Jude storyline is going? Do we think that there's going to be more to it? Like, are we going to get any... Because he needs parental consent for surgery, but then is his sister his legal guardian because she's over 18? Like, did they actually go through that process? Like, how deep are they going to go into this, do you think?
Well, and especially considering we've got, 6 episodes left? Mm-hmm. It's a great question.
Because they could leave it here, especially if they were getting some pushback on the storyline.
Right.
That could be enough to just mention, hey, the kid's parents were deported. Look what's happening. I wonder. But also, like, I do think that they're purposely putting Santos together with kids a lot to kind of point that out. And so that might be an excuse to keep him around, to sort of give Santos a chance to really show that side of her more. I don't know.
Right. And he's stable. So like they could, like he's going to go up for surgery, but you know, that could take a little while. So.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. I don't really know.
We do check in with Brooke next. We get Jesse trying to get Mel's attention because Mel is somewhere else.
I know. She's stressing me out.
I know. It's really, this whole episode until she goes upstairs is just Mel's like anxiety levels like climbing and climbing and climbing.
It's interesting. It's like fun to think about how different people respond to stuff like this, because I would be so indignant. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew I did it right. Everybody here is telling me I did it right. This person was being an idiot. I'm a doctor. I did my job. Like,
justice sensitivity.
Yeah. I would not be nervous. I would be like, I'd be like, are they going to call me up? Like, let's go.
I'd be furious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I'd be the same way. Even though in this is why Mel is perfect. Because even when she is feeling like this, when she realizes, she hears Brooke say to Jesse, I think I can maybe kind of make out your hand. She gets the sweetest, genuine smile on her face. Like, she has her look at how many fingers she's holding up, and Brooke gets it. And she gets the smile gets even bigger. And she's like, that's good news. And she's sort of like, just genuinely taken out of her own head for a minute and really excited for Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
But Brooke is going to go up to the ICU, and I am still wondering, because they made a point of telling us that this was sort of a risky medicine to take, this clot-busting medication. So there's a guy on YouTube who's a doctor. He's licensed in the US and Canada, but he works in Canada. And he does sort of recaps after every episode. And it's never done in time for me to watch before we record. But when he talked about this patient last week, he basically said, I would not take that medication.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So we'll see. I don't know. The Brooke thing, I feel like nothing really happened with that story other than there was that disagreement with Robby and Al-Hashimi about whether this was a good idea or not. And that was it. So there has to be something else there.
Maybe. Yeah. You know what I was thinking about today, though? Are there any big fuck-ups that have happened in the show, season 1 or 2, that didn't fall back on it being a systems issue and not a doctor issue totally? Because, like, even Javati this week, even her fuck-up wouldn't have happened if the system was running as intended. And I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
And I was thinking about that, and I was, like, trying to pinpoint something in that could be blamed on understaffing or funding or whatever, and I couldn't find anything, and that made me feel a little better. Because
we also had earlier in the season Al-Hashimi talking about how she's never been named in a lawsuit, and like there's
really
just
careful
a lot of
language,
little breadcrumbs being dropped that I wonder if are gonna be baked into a loaf of bread. That's the saying?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, famously the way you make bread is by gathering breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
And you
putting it
swoosh them
together
up. That's right.
and you bake them.
Yeah. You got it.
I don't cook. What do I know?
We did not tell our listeners that it is after 7 o'clock, which is the magic hour for us. So
yeah. Maybe when it stays light out past like 7, I will not feel like a lunatic at this time of night.
Yeah, I have no right to blame it on time because I'm in an underground bunker. It's always dark in here.
Yeah. After Brooke, we get our next PSA that women's gynecological issues go underfunded and understudied and underdiagnosed, and especially bad with Black and brown women. And this was one of the more PSAs we got, and yet I was still, as someone with endometriosis, like, motherfucker, talk about it more.
They were like, you need to hear this. And the language in this show is often so beautiful and so careful that I'm like, it feels to me that they're just like, I don't care if it's a little hokey to do this. We have a show that people are watching, and we have a platform to bring this stuff to light. And so here we go again.
I mean, I don't have the PCOS stats, but like women with endometriosis wait an average of 7 to 10 years to get diagnosed.
Right.
And she says, I've had years of pain, hormonal changes, and an abnormal period. I was finally diagnosed after switching to a gyno who actually listened to me. And then she looked at the camera and winked.
Exactly. Pretty much across the board when it comes to medical research that has to do with people who are not men, it is grossly under-researcred by
100%.
Even stuff like they only started using even in like product like actual exactly menstrual blood for so
I was diagnosed with endometriosis when I was 12 or 13. I'm 50. They have made no advances.
Right.
None. Zero.
It's not that they couldn't. There's no way that...
No. The only cure for endometriosis is surgery, and then that's still not a cure because it often comes back.
Right.
They have no cure. They give you the birth control pill to try to control it, and if you're lucky, it does. And in my case, it mostly does. But, like, they've made no progress whatsoever. So I am all for them, like... put the rainbow on the screen. The more you know, like, I'm fine. I don't care.
Though, while we're here, I texted you earlier today because I think this is the most PSA we've had, one of the most. Mm-hmm. And eventually, they're going to hit all the major underrepresented, underdiscussed medical issues to give a PSA about. They're going to have to start getting creative. Mm-hmm. But let's each make a prediction. I've got one in mind.
See, I don't, and that's why I'm kind of like, maybe...
Do you want to save it for the end?
I think maybe we save it for the end, so I can give myself some time. Yeah.
And listeners, you can think about it too. And if you think of one before the end of the episode, send it in while you're listening to us so you remember to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a fun game. Listeners, if you're listening right now, and I know you are, go take a look.
If a podcast plays in a forest.
Yeah, exactly.
Did a tree fall on someone? Like, what's the... 7 o'clock.
Chris Fleming was on Caleb Heron's podcast recently.
Yep.
Caleb asked why he didn't have a podcast. He was like, I think there's something waiting for me in the afterlife if I resist this.
A reward. Mm-hmm.
That really stung. Stung. But open up Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher you use, but Apple Podcasts is the one you can leave a review on easily. Mm-hmm. And just open it up right now. And what do we want them to comment?
Whatever they think the most obscure PSA that the Pitt will do is going to be.
Do it right now, though.
Yeah. I'm not there yet. So let's keep talking about lazy doctoring, and then we'll come back to that.
And we'll see if any of you have the same idea that one of us had, because you'll have already left your review.
Okay. What I did like about this is... And again, this was the least realistic part of it to me, was that someone in that kind of pain, and maybe this is just me, but someone in that kind of pain who's done this a million times, who never gets listened to, would have the wherewithal in the moment to actually call out lazy doctoring. Because, like, I mean, I have always been too fearful of it affecting my medical care. Mm-hmm. To call that out in the moment, because when you're in that much pain, and in this moment, the patient is like in a lull in the pain. But yeah, she says that sounds like an excuse for lazy doctoring to McKay. And it doesn't help that some of you don't listen to women, let alone brown ones. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been easy. But, we need to hear it. I noted when Whitaker has her kind of scoot down for the exam, she's like, he's like, let me help you. And she's like, oh my God.
She's like, I got this.
And then, of course, he says that their plan should be to discharge with naproxen. And, McKay, who is the one who was a little dismissive of her at first, is, to her credit, she immediately gets checked and is like, oh, wait, no. You can almost see her think, okay, yeah, you're right. And so she says that they should observe her for a bit because her pain is worse than usual. And she didn't look very good in triage.
It really is cool to see these people learn on this show. They really do. In a way that, like, other shows like this don't work if people learn from their mistakes, but this one does.
Well, and McKay was like a well-meaning, like good doctor, but also a fuck up last season. And she's, to me right now, she can kind of do no wrong. I'm sure she'll do some wrong, but right now she's killing it.
Really killing it, yeah.
Yeah. But, oh my God, the PTSD I got when she has that full-on pain attack and they ask her if it's from 1 to 10 and she says 12. 12. I've been in 12 pain, like, from endometriosis, and like the sweating that like it's
I have gallstones that have been so painful that I've literally passed out from it, and it's like there's just nothing there's nothing you can do. Like,
no, I've woken up and our listeners are going to be like, you guys are a mess, but like I've woken up on the floor of my bathroom after fainting from endometriosis pain.
Exactly.
So. But it's a good thing they kept Amaya because she has a twisted ovary.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Which, like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, you know what she says that feels so relatable when she's talking about the bigger cyst, and she says, "Oh, my doctor's been keeping an eye on her."
An eye on her. Yeah. Yep. Did you know that in the medieval time period, which I know you know this, but in case our listeners didn't, they blamed most of women's physical illnesses on their womb moving throughout their body. They called it the wandering uterus. And they would try to cure the wandering uterus by fumigation, by placing like pleasant smells where they wanted the uterus to go and bad ones at the opposite end.
It's not funny. It's not funny.
It would be funny if we had learned anything since then.
I know. I feel like we're like one bad day away from them suggesting fumigation.
Honestly, it would not shock me at this point.
Nope. Oh, man.
There's a book I read that talks about how there are theories that the women in the, like, that were diagnosed with quote unquote hysteria actually had like PCOS, endometriosis, like fibroids, all because they would faint and they would be like in a ton of pain and sweaty.
They were kind of right in a weird way.
Like, oh my God. Yeah, except you can't cure it by like burning feathers by someone's nose, which is a real thing.
It's not funny. It's not funny.
I know.
So wild.
I did appreciate Whitaker like giving McKay her props to the patient and saying like McKay made the right call to keep you for observation, just to like make sure that she got credit for that decision.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Becca? I love this so much. I love Becca. Yeah. Becca, by the way, played by Tal Anderson, who was in Atypical, and has been in a number of other things as well. But she's doing a great job. She's doing a great job now, especially in this episode. I feel like we get to see a different side of her. We've only really seen her through the phone as this sort of, or the one time we saw them walking down the street together. But like, she's kind of had one personality trait thus far, which is like sweet, but like, I don't know, like very one track.
Yeah.
And I love how she kind of calls her sister out in this. She's like, my name is Becca. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, she's so cool. She's just like,
she's blowing up Mel's spot though. She's telling everything.
Cool. Well, she says, "You're Dr. Robby." I am cool. And then first she tells Langdon he has really nice hair, which he does.
Yes.
I know we keep saying we love Langdon, but he's so good here too because not just here, because even with the tongue with the Jackies, like he's so hot that it's like kind of stupid. But he has it almost seems like he's not aware of it. Like she's like trying to flirt with him and he's like, okay. And then when Becca says like, you have really nice hair, he's just kind of like tickled by it, but he does seem like genuinely like, I don't know, he's a good guy.
Yeah. He asks Mel to turn the lights off on her way out, And she looks ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then she says, Becca says to Langdon, Mel says lots of nice things about you. He says, okay. But this whole conversation between the two of them, when he's like trying to figure out what's going on with her and asking her questions, and he's super gentle but direct with her in a very like, you know, the way you would want someone to talk to your sister.
Yeah.
And Perla is watching him the whole time. And like the first time you see her face, she's just observing. And then the second time you see her like smiling at the way he's treating Becca. And it's just, everyone else sees it.
First thing she does is tell big dumb Robby that he did a good job. Oh, also when Mel has to hand her off to somebody, at first they suggest Santos. She's like, not an R2.
Not an R2. My favorite part of that scene actually was, she says, Dana's her room open. This is my sister, blah, blah, blah. And then Mel and Dr. Robby are talking in the hallway about her deposition and about how she can't go because she's freaked out. And he's saying like, you know, you can't take care of your family member. And like you said, Santos is the first person that he kind of calls out and says, hey, are you free? And Santos, the beat poet that she is, says, is anybody really free? And that's when Mel says, not an R2.
Not an R2.
R2s are all having existential crises about, you know, our lack of free will. Mm-hmm. This is also the scene where Santos complains about having to do all of her charting.
This brought a question to mind for me. That's a way to say that.
Sure.
Robby says the same way everybody else does after their shift, which... it's not fair. Nobody should have to work after their shift in any job. But has all of this happened because Santos won't work once she's done and everybody else is?
I don't think so. I think she's just really behind.
Yeah, I didn't get that impression that...
No, I don't think that's the case. I think that like he's basically thinking about it like, you can't do it right now because we're fucking destroyed. We have no like internet or technology. Like you'll have to do it later. But no, I think she's just extremely behind. Like, again, the doctor who I watch on YouTube now was commenting on how that's an insane amount of charts to be behind. It's normal to be a little behind, but like that would be a problem.
No, Santos, come on.
Yeah. But it seems, hopefully, fingers crossed, like Becca just has a UTI and like we're not going to have any big crisis there because I don't want that.
And I think it's not that kind of show. I think they know that we will stress about her enough on our own that they don't really need to put her in major danger.
Yeah, I really hope not. My favorite little detail of this series of scenes with Becca and Mel, though, is that was just so relatable to me. I don't know if we were recording when I said this, but I said something like, I'm trying to do something really fast that I'm doing it really badly or making it worse or something like that. And there's a point when Mel is like behind the curtain and she looks down and her gloves are so not on her hands properly. They're just falling all over the place. And it's just like, she's a doctor. She knows how to put gloves on, but she's just completely lost all faculties for the moment.
It's so relatable. I think about it whenever I work a live show for a podcast where there are a ton of people. And not only is it my job to make sure that the sound is working in the room, but it's exactly like being a doctor, but that my recording is working because we'll also need that later for depending on the show, maybe hundreds of thousands of listeners who are expecting to hear this at some point. And when even just the dumbest little thing goes wrong, it's like I forget how to do my job. Yeah. It happened in Chicago, actually. I accidentally tapped without realizing there's a little button on my interface for monitoring, and it doesn't matter, but it doubles the audio, basically, depending the way we were routed. Doesn't matter. More information than you need. But it was just one button I tapped, and it was like I fully went. It was like my gloves were hanging off of my hands, and I didn't even,
Yeah, she totally forgot how to be like a person for a minute.
And so when Robby tells her to breathe, it's like that's always, I hate to be like that's always the answer, but like if you can get yourself to stop for just a second.
Yeah.
PSA.
Yeah, somebody needs to tell Javadi that later on, but we're not there yet. We've got a brief moment of representation for pedantic English teachers. Mr. Green.
Mr. Green.
Very triggering for Ogilvy, whose father he does not speak to, apparently, and who is an English teacher.
And now we were supposed to feel bad because Ogilvy's English teacher dad isn't impressed that he's in med school. Guess what?
Yeah.
Ogilvy, put your hand down. I don't care.
I will say that this is the only episode I have seen him in so far where he is not being really annoying.
Yeah.
And he's working. It's so funny watching him work with Mohan. There's something different about the way he behaves. He might just be chastened from everything that's gone on, but like the way that she is teaching and he is receiving that teaching in this patient case is actually super professional and like normal and lovely. And it just made me feel like, okay, so you can be like this.
Right.
What part of this isn't happening elsewhere and why? Like, what is it about this? Is it just because you got your, ass handed to you a bunch of times? Or is it because like there's something different about Mohan's teaching, or this is less overwhelming and stressful? Maybe you're just not cut out for that. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah. There is a shift. He is on thin fucking ice. Oh, I'm sorry. We're so far past it and we didn't talk about it. Ogilvy, put your hand down. And I know that Robby's had enough of him and like he was such a jackass, but also it's kind of like, you've been here for 5 seconds, like sit down, we'll tell you what to do, don't worry. There are no questions you have that matter right now, I think is more the issue. But
that's how I felt originally, but so here's what I realized on my second watch. Not only does he tell Ogilvy to put his hand down, but there were other hands still up, including Javadi's, when they ended the meeting. And you literally see they focus on Javadi's face with her hand still in the air, and she didn't get her question answered and then ends up fucking up with like not writing the names on the board. That's probably what she was going to ask. I just feel like I understand the satisfaction of the Ogilvy put your hand down because I would have done the same thing or wanted to. But it does speak to the fact that they also just didn't answer a lot of questions. They answered a couple and then moved on.
Which also speaks to the fact that like they're so swamped and there are so many questions that it's like, I don't know that was actually the best way to handle it in the first place now that you say that for Robby, because you weren't going to be able to answer all the questions. So, but either way, I could watch him, Ogilvy, put your hand down, I don't know, every morning, and it would improve my day. And Ogilvy's face would, it's so good.
Oh, man. Since we're talking about this whole thing with the question, let's talk about Mrs. Burns real quick because Roxy is a really kind of a heavy one, and Howard also. So yeah, let's talk about.
Yeah, we'll go to a lighter one.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't die.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, like, this is, to me, I don't know why I didn't have such a hard time, like, emotionally with this. I guess we didn't meet the patient.
We don't know her,
Yeah. But basically, we first hear about this patient because basically, like, Javadi is not writing things on the board. Charts aren't being made. There's a patient in her room. Donnie's like, hey, there's not supposed to be anyone in there. Like,
she also last week, it's twice she's done it now, where she's like, oh, I thought the nurses were going to do that. That's why she and Ogilvy are both at that patient that has the margarita burn, because she didn't know the nurses weren't going to do whatever.
And to be fair, it's all the same hour and a half, basically. Yeah. So it's not like she, didn't learn over the course of months or anything. But
yeah, it's a little bit of when Garcia calls her Nepo baby.
Oof.
It like that pissed me off, but then I was like, although maybe that is a little bit of where that assumption that other people are gonna do the boring work for her was the only thing I could that's Garcia's impression that she's gotten because of stuff like this.
Maybe I'm just more. Maybe I just love Javadi's facial expressions and want to be forgiving of her, but I feel like this was more just her struggling with the day.
Yeah.
And not like the way that she reacted when Dana was like, you know, everyone has to pitch in. Like, it's not just the nurses that are going to be doing this. She seems a little like naturally chagrined, not like, oh, you know.
I think
like,
so too. Yeah.
So.
I don't know that I agree with the reading that I put on Garcia about her, but if I did, it's not that she feels entitled necessarily. It's that it just hasn't occurred to her. And once she does, she has the good sense to feel ashamed. But it does go back to, well, let's talk about the case and then I'll.
Yeah. I mean, so basically Javadi just like doesn't follow up properly with these new paper systems in a number of different ways, including looking at the x-ray right away because it's on some machine that they have to like get to. And, you know, this test hasn't gone to the right place. And so they end up doing this, like running through the hallways, trying to find out the different test results. And turns out she needs surgery now and she wouldn't have an hour ago.
Right. It would be a lot to keep track of, and getting used to a new system, like, even if they weren't dealing with the overflow from
Westbridge.
From Westbridge.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I meant earlier, too, of like Garcia tells her it's her fuck up. And I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. But it's not a mistake she would have made under different circumstances.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. I will say she doesn't do a great job of taking responsibility. She starts to say, like, there was confusion with digital systems. It wasn't read. That, like, it's all, like, third person.
I was just going to say it's very passive voice. Like,
yeah.
The chart wasn't read.
Right. But Whitaker, I think because of his own experience on his very first day, like, is really trying to reassure her and says, like, you know, she just fell through the cracks. It was the chaos. You know, you'll learn. It won't happen again. Like, he's being really good here.
He's a very good doctor.
The real sort of, other than the Nepo baby comment, the real dagger here is that I think her mom is going to do the operation.
Oh, I missed that.
Garcia says Dr. Shamsi will be operating. And that's her mom or her dad? Right? I think it's her mom.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't know. I actually don't remember what her dad does, but...
Yeah, I know he's a doctor, but like I don't know exactly what he does. But yeah. So that's even worse.
Yikes. Imagine. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot there. I totally missed that.
My favorite part, in like a real, like, joyful way of this whole thing, is Digby being the cheerleader for the doctors. He's like, oh, I can move. I can get out of your way. And then after they save her, he gives them the 2 thumbs up.
I know.
Says, very nice.
I love Digby.
I know. And Perla gives this little smile. It's just so sweet.
Digby being like, oh, I can give you guys some room. Do you think that was a practical thing for the episode because of how they shoot, and that like that bed needed to be there and then it needed to not be there, but they didn't have the time or space to have, do you know what I mean? Like, because it's a weird thing for a patient to move. And I was like, I wonder if that's just how they dealt with an on-set. It reminded me of, I don't know how much you have like listened to them talk about Heated Rivalry, but the scene when Ilya drags the chair in Vegas to the bedroom, it's because they needed that chair to get there, but it wouldn't make sense to have the chair there before the scene, so they were like, we'll just have him drag it, apparently.
Like, I understand I understand your point and that interpretation, but to me, and this is just my reading of it, it really read to me as Digby's kind of like a fixture, like Louis was. And so he's used to watching them perform this ballet, and like he knows that, like, because he's always there, that he's like almost a part of the like group. He's like, oh, I gotta get out of your way. Yeah. And also that maybe he feels like a little bit, I don't know, like, I don't want to say apologetic. That's not the right word. But like, you know, they keep talking about how he, like, they need all these beds, they need these beds. And like, maybe he needs to feel like he's not in the way, literally.
Right. Because all he came in for was the cast removal in the first place. And he's hanging around because they finally got him to agree to like speak with their social services, right? Which is obviously going to take forever now because priorities. But then, so he hasn't been discharged. And so what you're saying makes a lot of sense too, because he knows. He's like we've said, he's like very sweet. He's not stupid. He knows they need the bed.
And he's okay. Like,
Yeah. And so, but I get if you're Digby and you know what you're going back to, and they've offered to help, and you finally like been able to accept that to some degree, that you'd be like.
And also, it really kind of rang of like gratitude on his part too, just like appreciating what they do, because he's not in intense amounts of pain in the moment. He's not in desperate need of their care in the moment, and he's just watching them do their jobs. Like, it's pretty cool.
Digby.
At the end of this whole thing, a little bit later in the hallway, Robby says to Javadi that he wants to debrief with her on this patient later.
Whoa.
Yeah. I gotta say, well, we'll get to this when we get to him and Whitaker in the break room with the donuts, but I'm still noticing the difference in the way he talks to people. We can get Jackie out of the way, or Jackie's, and we don't really need, there's nothing else to say, really. Like, they get discharged. She can have the 3-bean dip, but not with the chips.
Right.
So, good for her. So who do we have left? We have Roxy. And we kind of covered our friend Iris, the furry, right? She's got heat exhaustion. She's to avoid alcohol and caffeine and wear light, breathable clothing, which she's not going to because it's boring.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think is that it? Is it just, and Howard.
Yeah, Roxy and Howard are the last two. And then we've got some Jersey references to talk about. One big one. All right, let's talk about Roxy first, because it's a little bit, well, they're both kind of codas to what happened before, and like we're now like pausing in anticipation of what is going to happen, sort of life or death for both of them. So Roxy gets her salty caramel ice cream from her kid. That broke my heart, that the older son. I know. But if you told me you were going out for ice cream and you'd bring me some back, and what you meant by going out for ice cream was going to the grocery store and buying a bunch of pints of freezer ice cream. Where's my fucking soft serve?
Yeah, exactly.
Total side note, I was listening to an episode of Best Friends with Nicole Byer and Sister Ameda the other day, and the way Nicole says soft serve, it was so good. It brought me home immediately. Yeah. So good. Anyway.
Sometimes that Jersey accent pops up and it makes me so happy. She's like proper Central Jersey.
I know. But this also, to me, this was putting to bed any weird suspicions about the husband. Yeah. Because basically Roxy says, like, I've been in pain this whole time, my love. And he says, like, why didn't you tell me? And it's, that's what we suspected. Like, she's been kind of putting on a brave face because she doesn't want her kids to, like, remember her as in this horrible pain. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But the
it's
family...
It's going to be a tough one.
I know. The family takes off. And so subtle, the things that they do in this show sometimes, but the transition of her room from hospital room to what Lena does with it really broke me, because Lena, you see her arranging the quilt in the first scene on her bed, and then when McKay comes back, she's got a shawl over her shoulders, there's a salt lamp, there's photos,
the salt
there's flowers.
Lamp really, for some reason, I was like, oh, they're really like making this as peaceful because they know, like, it.
That really felt like, okay, we're preparing. It's going to happen here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this conversation, man, I mean, it reminded me weirdly of how direct Robby was last season about death with the family, the brother and sister who had to say goodbye to their father. Like, this was such a frank conversation about death between McKay and Roxy. It was very short, but it was like that line at the end. Like, any advice? I've never died before. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
It did remind me of poor Bud Court with I've Never Lived, I've Died a Few Times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I think you asked me last week, like, do we think Roxy's going to make it out of this season? And I really don't.
And I was almost certain last week.
Yeah.
I am 100% obviously certain this week.
Yeah.
I thought there was a chance.
There, yeah.
I thought there was a chance they'd like send her off to a different floor or something and we wouldn't see it happen maybe and like leave it open-ended for us, but there's no way.
Yeah. I mean, there is a chance that we don't actually see her die. Like I could see them doing something like, because they've made their point in a way.
Right.
Like if a room does open up and she can leave the ER with her family, we're still going to know she's dying.
Right.
Like,
right. That's
very
true.
soon. But I don't know. We'll see how they handle it. Because I feel like we don't really, at this point, seeing her die is really, to me, would be less impactful than the conversations leading up to it and everything they've already shown us.
Yeah, that's
actual
totally
death
true.
itself is just like, it almost feels like we don't kind of need it. It almost weirdly feels like too private. They're not real people.
I was just going to say, maybe we shouldn't be there when it happens. Like,
they're not real.
Yeah.
She's fine in real life. So have to remember that.
You really do get to know some of these characters. I mean, I know that's such a dumb thing to say. That's what happens with TV. But just like getting to spend time with these people in this way, where it's just this one day, you get to really know a certain moment of who these characters are in this, I
think part of it is how, especially with someone like Roxy, how understated the acting has been. Mm-hmm. It's just been so like naturalistic and quiet, but like also really poignant. Like, it in a show like, and I always bring up like Grey's Anatomy or whatever, because I do still watch Grey's Anatomy, but like there's so much drama and like, I don't know, drama is the only word I can think of in all of these cases, that seeing the quietness of the way that Roxy is acting, or the actress that plays her, is really, it's a different way of affecting the viewer, and I think a more like gripping one. Mm-hmm. Howard's back.
Well, it's good because they keep bringing me Abbott and taking him away. I was ready for him to come back, so I'm glad it didn't take How long could it have taken?
Yeah, that's true.
15
this is less
minutes?
than an hour. How far away is Presby?
It's like... Well,
yeah.
we got the 45-minute episode or whatever last week, so there's those 15 minutes, and then they didn't get back until like the end. And if they brought him in kind of like through a back door because they knew, so okay, I guess. Maybe
it was pretty quick though.
Yeah.
At first, we get a little bit of humor when he's got the iPad and he says like Abbott's funny, and Robby says, "Trust me, his chart wears off," and Abbott said, "No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't."
No,
it doesn't. And he's so certain. It's not even, he's not offended. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Why would you say that?
Oh my God. But unfortunately, he does need surgery. And Garcia is not sugarcoating it. 100% chance of death if you don't do it, 50% chance if you do. Good Lord. Good job, Whittaker, though, on fighting the sister before this, like in that 45 minutes or whatever. And like, seeing if they can FaceTime her.
They have such a lovely, it's another example. That conversation could have been so much more like, just like over the top, so much more, but it gave us what we needed with the like, but Dad is drinking, which she wouldn't have had to say if we weren't there, but it's, it's just enough. And they're so sweet to each other.
This is another example that I noted. I've seen a lot of it this past couple of episodes of doctors not explaining shit to patients. Like you had mentioned this about the language when the way Dana speaks to Alana, the sexual assault victim, versus Al-Hashmi when she's using like language that's a little bit more medical. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably because everything is down and they're crazed and rushed and there's a billion patients. But like, Garcia says, what did we discover to Abbott? And then Abbott says, diverticular abscess that progressed to perforation, now with free air into the diaphragm. And literally Howard on the iPad says, in English, please. Like, people aren't talking to patients and explaining things. Same thing with Brooke, the eye stroke patient. They're not explaining things to her. Her and her wife keep having to ask questions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
Like, I don't know if they're making a point of that intentionally or if it's just part of, like, everyone's rushing. But it is, I've noticed it a lot the last couple episodes.
The way that Howard is silently, like, but sobbing as they push him in.
Absolutely
that
killed me.
Cry was so, oh my God. And
I know.
I don't know what.
I wrote Howard's face, exclamation point in that moment.
He's so sad.
I know.
It's hard to predict what the show is going to do a lot of times because sometimes it does the thing that a show like this would do, and then sometimes it just doesn't. And I don't know which version of this him living or dying is. So it's like doubly removed because I'm like, is the less likely thing that he doesn't die, or is it like, no, sometimes people do live. 50% means he could or couldn't. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know what the more emotionally satisfying outcome is, that obviously that Howard lives, but
yeah,
I don't know what the like.
I mean, I'm assuming we'll find out, but you never know.
That's also true.
Because he's going off to surgery, and like everyone that leaves the ER, we just hear about after the fact. We never leave the ER. So unless he has to be back there for some reason, we may not know for sure.
Or maybe not even until. So the reason, if I had to guess, based on how the show is set up, that conversation with his sister felt a little bit like Tell Me About the Rabbits, where it's like, yeah, we'll make a visit for 1 year, and it's like there's no visit. But like thinking back to last season, we didn't find out about Whitaker's farm girlfriend's husband until he died until this season. So
yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like as soon as somebody leaves the ER for another part of the hospital, like we just get reports. We don't ever actually follow them anywhere. Yeah.
And again, I have no idea how long a surgery like the one he's about to have could take. And so I'm really rooting for him.
I know. Those are our patients, but I think we should also talk a little bit about some of our doctor patients and nurse patients. Couple of interesting interactions around the nurse's station. I'd already mentioned Javadi having a question and not having it answered. I just want to give a little shout out to Olive.
Yeah, where did Olive come from?
Mullet nurse?
Mullet nurse Olive?
I want more. I want to know more. I want to know more. Where's Olive? Let's find out a little more.
Oh, before we get into the deeper, more serious stuff, that lawyer, Morgan, whatever, showing up in her cool lawyer suit, and that's Allison Hayslip, who I know from podcasts. She's one of those people who just is like, but she's also, when G4 was a channel, she was one of the co-hosts on Attack of the Show. For like 100 episodes. But forget all of that. I wouldn't even be bringing her up because whatever. Guess where she's from?
Jersey.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
Born in Jersey. So shout out Allison Hayslip. That's all.
Nice. Okay. Other notable things that happen around our nurse's station. Princess cheated on the poll.
Princess!
And Perla's calling her out.
Yeah. Good for Perla. I would also.
She gets 40%.
That's right.
Yeah. She says, I know you got insider. You don't think I know you got insider information from Rose at Westbridge. Amazing.
Sneaky.
One of the best red lines in the episode happens in this moment too, from Perla, of course. She and Emma are trying to fix the fax machine.
Yes.
And Emma says, what does it say? And Perla says, replace toner, we live in hell.
We live in hell. It's a perfect delivery.
Oh, God.
I learned the word gumband this week.
Me too.
Also.
I wondered if that was a South Jersey thing, but I guess it isn't.
It's a Pittsburgh thing, though, apparently.
Well, but you're closer than I am to Pittsburgh. So.
Yeah, it hasn't made it. It is very specific, apparently, from what I could read, to Pittsburgh.
I had no idea what they were talking about for so long.
I had to Google it.
Yeah. We also meet the hot radiologist, finally. I knew we would. Dr. Barker.
Dr. Barker, the radiologist, he's a hottie.
Mm-hmm. I love the darkroom talk.
As soon as I was like, I wonder if Jodie's ever done anything with x-rays. It feels so in your lane.
I know
with
it does.
Your interests.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, he says, before digital technology, x-ray films were physically developed in a darkroom in baths, thus wet read.
I don't like the phrase wet read.
No, me neither.
This guy's hot, but you're at PTMC where everyone
is hot. I know.
I just can't imagine anybody turning my head any more than pretty much anybody else there.
I know.
Other than Mohan, because she's the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my life. But otherwise.
That's fair. Dana does not seem thrilled with this plan. Dana's so you're messing up my very carefully organized life right now by putting someone new here.
Dana is so Dana in this episode.
Yeah.
There's just so many good. We get a couple of Jesus Christs out of her.
Yep.
This fucking day.
Princess, though, is killing me in this whole section.
Shameless.
He's talking about the photography thing in the darkroom, and just randomly, like Dana says, he's taking Loud to space, got an update from Dylan on our abandoned baby, blah, blah, blah. Once we get a court order, we can place her in foster care. And you just hear Princess go, I love photography. That's why Dana says Jesus Christ.
It's a little Giovanni with Matteo last season of just like...
Yeah. It's really funny. And then the next time we see them all at the station, Princess is watching Nick, Giovanni is watching Princess, and Robby is watching all of them. And it is so funny.
I love it so much.
Yeah. Finally, my favorite of all of Princess's lines. I'm just going to jump right to it.
Go, do it.
So they're all hanging out. And this is a little later on. Joy is looking at the x-rays with Nick or Dr. Barker and showing how good she is at everything. And noticing something that the radiologist isn't noticing. And he's like, oh, did you do radiology clerkship? And she says, no, I'm just that good. And he laughs. And all of a sudden, Princess from the back, I'm good at things too.
She's
hell yeah.
Shoot
her shot, Princess. Why
Go
not?
for it. Girl, you got all that money?
Yeah. You're on a win streak. You might as well try.
I love her. I love them all so much.
I'm good at things too.
I'm good at things too. Also,
so
shout out to Joy just crushing it. So she's the opposite of thirsty for any of this. She's just here and she's killing it. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't care.
She's here to kick ass and then leave and go to pathology or apparently maybe radiology.
That's right.
Yeah. She's great. Okay. What else is going on at our nurses' station?
We haven't even talked about, and I don't know how we haven't. Maybe it's because we're saving her. Are we saving Monica for last?
Well, that's definitely one of the highlights. And so we're getting to Monica.
Okay. I'm
excited to talk about her.
Yeah, I'd love to have a little bit of Monica in my life, you know?
Oh, no.
The trumpet. That's a trombone. I don't have a trumpet on here.
Oh, God.
Can you hear it? Do I have it?
I couldn't hear it.
Oh, no.
No, it's okay. I don't want to. It's fine.
Here, let's pause. Let me fix my routing. We'll get back to it.
Before we talk Monica, there's one other thing that I thought we should mention, which...
There's one other thing. Listeners, don't worry. You're gonna put add it in post so you'll hear it. So I know it was confusing that Jodie just said she didn't hear it because you did, but that's why.
Okay. Before we get to Monica, we do briefly have a conversation where Mohan does her my cousin Vinny, my biological clock is ticking this. She's like smacking the desk and
she says, can we really unpack this conversation?
Sure.
Because she says, Jodie, this is so crazy. She goes, she's not stupid. She's so empathetic. She is so tuned into people's feelings. And she says, I saw this regular an hour ago. He's in his 60s, fakes an ailment so he can come in to chat every now and then because he's really lonely. McKay says, you sure he just doesn't have a crush on you? Mohan says, maybe. But it got me thinking about my mom. She's probably just been lonely. Oh, do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think your mom's just been lonely? You had to see a lonely old person to think, oh, maybe your mom is also lonely? Everybody's lonely.
Yeah. No, she did. She's a doctor. She's in her own head all the time.
Really? I couldn't.
I thought you were going to say my favorite part, which is that she's waiting until she gets back to Jersey to work on finding a relationship.
Of course.
Which is, of course, what you would do. Like, if you can.
Yeah.
She says, maybe I waited too long. And McKay says, for what? And she says, do you hear that? That painful, lonely silence is the sound of my eggs dying. She is not over 32. Like,
no, I don't think so.
Did I ever tell you about the time I dated a male nurse? Briefly. No. On our very first date, we went to a museum. The story has a point.
I was laughing at myself because I couldn't decide. First, I was like, we'll probably leave this in just so listeners can really get a look inside. Yeah. I almost jokingly said, oh, I believe that's called a nurse. And then I started to say, oh, Jody, I think we can just call them nurses now. But then just like on the queer podcast, you do have to specify.
There's a reason I said male nurse.
Yes, exactly. So that's what was happening. And now I'm back.
And it's also funnier when you hear the rest of the story. So we were on our first date. We were at a museum. We were walking around. We were outside. And we were kind of getting to know each other. And I was in my late 30s, early 40s at the time, I think. And I made some joke about my ovaries drying up because I hadn't wanted kids for a while. And he said, actually, it's your uterus you have to worry about. And I was like, what part of you thought that correcting me with proper gynecological facts was a good idea on this first date? It's your uterus you have to worry about.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
This is a Wendy's. Anyway, just a little bit of advice. If we have any medical professionals listening to this podcast, maybe save those facts for the third or fourth date.
It's your uterus you've got to worry
uterus
about.
You need to worry about. I laughed so hard, actually. Like, I just started hysterically laughing.
Incredible.
In a way, it was weirdly like the perfect thing to say because it was so ridiculous.
Right.
Anyway, let's talk about Monica because I need her to come run my life right now.
She came in.
Yeah.
Just ready to go. Probably illegal. I can't imagine you could just bring any old person into your ER and start letting them run charts and stuff, but who cares?
But it's a holiday and she's around and she's ready to take over.
And like their cameras and stuff are probably offline, so who's going to know?
The best part about meeting Monica is that you realize pretty quickly that this is Dana's Dana.
Yeah. Yep.
This is the person that when Dana started working there was the old hand who had it all under control and like was just the person you always could go to. I loved it.
But no bullshit. Did you?
No, yes.
Did you recognize this actor from anything?
I didn't, but I know that it is Rusty Schwimmer, who's a like very well-known and well-liked character actor.
Yeah, she's got, first of all, a great name. The thing I know her best from is she's Joe's mom in Twister in the flashback scene when her and her mom and dad and the dog and Toby are in the storm shelter.
Right. Yeah, no, she was great. She really immediately made me feel like I could just relax a little bit better.
We're going to be okay.
Yeah. So last week we talked, I think it was last week, about how there's certain types of people with certain types of brains that we are two of, that a job where you file things or put things away or organize things in alphabetical order is very comforting and satisfying. Another version of that job for me is being a runner for someone like Monica. Makita, I believe is her name, from Admin and Records, who brings Whitaker's new badge, who becomes one of her runners because she runs marathons, does it immediately, cheerfully, and with like precision and efficiency. And I would be that person for Monica in a fucking heartbeat. Put me in. Like, I will get those labs down there. I will be back in faster than you think is possible. I'm in.
Just so ready to go. And then the more
ready to go.
approval you get from her, the better you'll be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be so good at that job.
Yeah.
I also noted she does a little wave to Ahmad as she goes by.
Yeah.
Cute little flirtation there.
What's going on there?
I also, she's the only person that calls Robby Rabinovich when she first sees him.
It's very like they've got a pass together.
Yeah, Rabinovich. A few other little things that we see outside of patient rooms. We get a really interesting interaction with Emma and Dana outside in the ambulance bay, where it kind of seems like Emma maybe has more of a personal connection maybe to this case.
Yeah,
it's
that
hinted
was
at.
The feeling I got too.
I saw an interview with the actor that plays her, and she basically said as much, that there's no like definitive backstory, but that is sort of what she and Sean Hattasey talked about. Like maybe there's something in her background or a friend of hers or something that made her connect to that case. But Dana looks so exhausted here. Like every time she has a minute where someone's not watching her, you really see what's going on with her in her head. There's also a really noticeable shot of the motorcycles again behind her. Just always popping up.
No, we'll see.
Well, I think we may be on the last little bit we really need to talk about, which is Robby. Mm-hmm. Oh, and we've got let's end with the water slide because that's somehow fun. Because Jersey. But yeah, let's talk Robby and then we'll treat ourselves with some Action Park references.
Great.
But Robby has two very telling conversations. Nothing surprising for anyone that's actually watching this show. I don't know. I know. Go ahead.
Should I?
Honestly, I don't care. Who are we? We don't get paid for this shit. They're getting paid money to do this podcast where they don't actually seem to watch the show.
And that's what I was trying to figure out. Is like
we're talking about the official podcast. I'm just going to put it out
there.
And
I'm sure they're lovely people.
I'm sure they are too.
And I know that like they probably got to watch the whole season, and so they can't give anything away.
Right.
But
they're missing so much.
Again, listeners, if it took you until this episode, like you have a life where you're not dissecting this show the way that Jody and I are and the way that these people are getting paid to. So if you're just kind of cluing into Robby's, like, at the very least passive
like suicidal ideation.
Being passively suicidal at the very least, that's okay. You're allowed. You have a life.
That's understandable for people who are just watching. But like, if you're getting paid by HBO to
they
comment
literally
on this,
said this is the first time we see that.
No, absolutely not.
And it made me frustrated for the show.
On the first episode, he rode in on a motorcycle with no fucking helmet. Come on.
Everything this man has done.
He's a walking red flag right now.
It is. I was really shocked because it made me think, like, for the sake of the show, like, it's not, I don't think that it's that you and I are, like, because there are some things where it's like, maybe we're a little hyper vigilant about, but I don't think that's what's going on
here. Very specific term you use there. Yeah. No, because we are not the only people that have been noting this for a long time.
I hate, again, I'm sure they're lovely people and they are working hard, but like,
just give us like 20% of your salary. That's all.
That's it. Right. That's all I need.
Yeah. Or they can listen to our podcast and then put theirs out.
Yeah. But also,
give us 20%.
Right. Yeah. I don't listen because I listened to the first one, was not impressed. But I really wanted to hear Sean Hattasey talk about this episode. He's barely in it. He's only in the episode for a few minutes. But yeah. So Robby is really, if anybody's making the rounds right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The first of these two scenes is with Abbott. And it's like, they start by him Abbott once again complimenting Al-Hashimi, which I love. Mm-hmm. You know, he says, I like her. Robby says, more than me? He says, only time will tell. She has good command of staff and procedures. I think you're leaving your day shift in very capable hands.
I hope so.
And honestly, we have obviously thoughts about a lot of things that Al-Hashimi came in talking about and the AI and blah, blah, blah. But I started to see this episode, the difference in Robby's insane pessimism right now and what it would be like working for someone who says things like, the world out there does shit to people all the time. Like, I don't know what exactly the line was, but he said something to Santos where he was like, things are bad all the time.
Right, yeah.
And Al-Hashmi comes in and says, like, just because things are bad doesn't mean you stop trying. Like, I would rather work in the abstract for that person, you know? So, but then they have the conversation where Robby says, well, hey, if I don't see you, Robby says, oh, I've taken a vacation before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Name the last one. Point taken.
Yeah. And then the real dagger.
Man, Abbott is so good. He's just...
Yeah. They both have great face acting here.
They really do.
Abbott says it's going to be a lot of time to self-reflect. You sure you can handle that? Just make sure you come back. And if it gets dark, you call me. You listening?
Heartbreaking. What is the face he's making there?
It's so perfect to me because it's like he is half laughing, half crying.
It's like ghastly. Like I couldn't. Yeah. It's like it is so.
His eye crinkles are working overtime.
It's like you wouldn't be. You know, when you are at that level of, for me, it's like emotional exhaustion, where it's like you said, he's in between, he could laugh or cry, and if he just broke out into the loudest sob that you've ever heard, just like a storm coming in instantly, I would not have been surprised. Like, it's so...
Or hysterical laughter that turns into crying. Yeah.
Yes. It's so... taut? I don't even know what the word is, but it is like...
He's just holding himself,
I've never seen a face like that on anybody.
It was so intense. I saw an interview with Sean Hattasey, not on the official podcast, where he talked about this as Robby's first goodbye of the day. Because, and at first I was like, Robby's not leaving right now, but Abbott is. He's going home to rest before the night shift, theoretically. We'll see. But so he said it over and over again in the interviews I saw, this is Robby's first goodbye. And it's to Abbott. That was a way of phrasing it that really worried me. He's
literally going through, if I were a therapist, I would be checking off he's saying his goodbyes. He's literally, this is him giving away, basically.
Yeah. So we go into the break room. Whitaker's housing a donut. Don't let Dana know. And he gives Whitaker the badge. Donuts. Yeah, the blood donuts. He gives Whitaker the badge. He's heaping praise on him. He's saying, you earned it. I'm proud of you. We all are. And then he brings up Amy. And he says, you're a very empathetic soul. And Whitaker starts to interrupt. He says, I'm not finished yet. This is what we wanted from him, which is to like intervene and like kind of steer Whitaker in this moment. Mm-hmm. And yet he literally says, I think she's really grateful for everything you do, but it's important to have boundaries. Yeah. Next question. Hey, do you want to do me a favor? Do you want to house sit for me while I'm gone? And I just wrote in all caps, boundaries. Robby. Boundaries. You work together. You're not his dad.
Robby's got it in his head. At the very least, there's a chance he's not coming back, obviously. Yeah. So either he comes back and this nice young doctor has been living in your home and probably sleeping in your bed for the last 3 months, or he doesn't come back and now you've left him to live in a dead man's home? Like, it's so inappropriate.
It's so inappropriate. You just gave a lecture on boundaries and then you immediately demonstrated you don't have any with your mm-hmm. employees, essentially. I mean, like, he's not paying their bill or their paychecks, but he is their boss.
Yeah. But he also can't help but keep being a teacher. Because like you said, he steers him. He doesn't sit down and say, like, Amy's taking advantage of you. But like, he kind of leads him there and asks the questions that he needs to ask to get Whitaker to...
And then he says to his employee, if I don't come back, you've got a swinging bachelor pad.
Okay. So now that we've got this, which is pretty good confirmation of what we've been fearing all along. That I still don't think that Robby necessarily has a plan to, like, again, leap off a waterfall. But he's driving around without a helmet. He's doing something very, like, people die on motorcycles all the time. And he's going
someone
for a long
did in
time.
this season.
Exactly.
Also, where's Duke? Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Oh, Duke's coming in on a stretcher. I really think so. So, you know, he's like, if it happens, it happens. And there's a part of him that is hoping it will, right?
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
But what do we think? Because we know there's no way that season 3, Robby's not around.
Right.
But so what happens between, like, basically, however, like, now and, you know, what do you, do you have a feeling?
Predicting. I don't feel comfortable predicting because I feel like they're not going to not have Robby on the show. That's, to me, it would be shocking. Not impossible, but shocking. But I do think that they are clearly, to me, going to be using this as a way to talk about, as they have been, but even more so, like the mental health of doctors and nurses. And like we've been getting bits of it here the whole time with like the PTSD from COVID and Langdon's addiction and Dana's like almost quitting and coming back. But like this is sort of the big one to fall. The like, you know, the too big to fail kind of like he's Lehman Brothers. I'm sorry that I compared Robby to Lehman Brothers. I apologize. But I do think that it's going to be like some sort of crash where they actually let there be some real consequences in a way. The kindest way is something happens where Robby's whatever for the work is renewed, but he agrees to go get some help, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's not happening. That's where I'm leaning right now is Duke comes in on a stretcher, like we said, and maybe that's some sort of wake up call that like, but the issue isn't that Robby thinks he can ride around on a motorcycle without a helmet and isn't going to get hurt. So that doesn't really do it for me either. The issue is he kind of doesn't care at the moment. Right. And so there is a really mean version of this where he leaves and we get the call and like that he got, and the first few episodes or whatever are him there in the hospital. Right. But I've seen a bunch of speculation about this where like the last episode is, you know, the red phone rings and it's a motorcycle victim.
Because they have been really pointing us to the red phone a lot lately too.
Yeah.
I know they didn't as much last season. So, and it's, you know, they love a PSA, as we know, and something they haven't said out loud yet is that doctors have they're one of the jobs with the highest suicide rates. I think the only ones higher are like construction workers and that has way more to do with like they get really awful injuries and then the pain is unbearable.
And it obviously is something that Noah Wiley wants to point at.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And talk about.
I was thinking too, the show is very distinct. It has nothing to do with ER, and we know that. They're totally different shows.
Obviously.
But let's just do a thought experiment what if the Pitt was a follow-up to ER? And I have recently learned it's not. Obviously it's not.
Yeah.
But I have recently learned what Dr. Carter went through as a young doctor. And it is brutal, the things that man has dealt with. And so again, just for fun as a thought experiment to think the Robby that we know now lived through like death, drug addiction, which there's a little hint toward with
sometimes,
being stabbed, I think, like so many that you get to this point and
this
maybe
is not ER.
It's not ER, and we know that.
Yes. But even if literally the worst things that ever happened to Robby are COVID and like the mass shooting, that's enough. We don't need 8 other things. So can we please talk about the water slide collapse?
The water slide collapse? I would love to.
The water slide collapse, yeah. Okay, so we do not think it's funny when people get hurt or die at water parks. Okay, but we are both natives of the state that is home to Action Park, which had a documentary made about it, and a TikTok from the Spooky Lake Month lady, that I was even more impressed with, honestly, because she talks about like these glacial lakes where like 1 million people are like buried, whatever. And then she also talked about Action Park, and literally all the comments were like, this is the worst one you've ever done. This is the most horrifying.
That rules. I'm proud.
Yeah.
So, Class Action Park, Traction Park.
Exactly. And of course, shout out to our friend Chris Gethard, who was a part of that documentary. Check it out wherever the hell it is right now, probably on the internet somewhere. So I'm not saying they're referencing Action Park. This is Pittsburgh. It has its own water parks. But
it's just hard to see something like this and not think.
The slide. Yeah. What's it called slide? Oh my God. The one I never went down because I was like not going to risk my life that way.
We had our own, not nearly as deathful, but fully decrepit.
Cannonball Loop. Sorry.
Great.
Ahead.
What a name.
Yeah, well, it went upside down, which was a bad idea.
You know how water slides are supposed to go upside down? You know how you're supposed to...
There were teeth embedded in the side of the wall.
If you don't know about Action Park, please go, even if you don't go watch the documentary, there are a bunch of podcasts, too, about it. Go put one of those on and just listen while you do your dishes or whatever. It is
oh my God.
Unbelievable.
It was the biggest, like, scam. They had idiot teenagers like in charge of people's lives. Anyway, yeah, the whole thing. Fascinating. So I'm curious to see, mainly the reason I'm excited about this plot line is we had a woman leave the ER after she felt better to go to the water
park. Oh my God, you're right.
So like, what if she comes back?
That's fun.
And number 2, are they at all going to nod at Action Park in this, or is this a totally separate thing? It's like I'm waiting for like a friend of mine to show up in the background of a TV show.
Right,
like,
yeah.
You know, are we going to talk about Action Park at all? Or like reference it somehow?
It the Alpine kind of slide, feels like
the wave pool.
They're doing some really like risky surgery or something on a patient, and they're like, the only time anybody else has tried this was in the Great Cannonball Run injury at Action Park.
Cannonball Loop, Andrea.
Cannonball Loop.
Just look up the slide, people. Just look up a picture of the Cannonball Loop.
It's truly unbelievable. Like, it doesn't...
It's wild.
Just the things they did. I don't want to harp on a moment in the show that isn't perfect, but...
Okay.
So we see that. Donnie says, holy shit. And then
they're coming here. Yeah.
They cut to the screen. So you don't see Donnie.
Yeah.
And he says, and they're all coming to us. Mm-hmm. And it's the worst ADR I've ever heard. For some reason, they put like some reverb on it that is as if it's his internal monologue. It sounds like he's in a cave. And I think probably what happened was they didn't trust that people were going to understand why that was a problem. And so they added
So they gave it an echo?
Well, they gave it no, it's not that. I think they had the actor record it like somewhere else, like at his home or something. And they were like, do the best job you can. And then for some reason they didn't. It just makes no sense. Like, I'm going to drop it in here because it made me laugh the first time because I was like, pretty bad ADR. But then I went back and actually listened to it, and there's an echo on it.
And they're all coming to us.
There's no... I was flabbergasted because what... It's
totally
like he's in the water tube.
Yeah. He's in the Cannonball
Is this one of those things where I've like ruined being able to listen to anything like a normal person?
Maybe. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm in like an Action Park water... I almost said water hole. Rabbit hole. I'm buried in the wave pool underneath a bunch of drunk teenagers. They sold beer at Action Park.
It's unbelievable.
Did you know that Chris Gethard is quoted in the Wikipedia of the Action Park?
I feel like he's the foremost expert on Action Park.
He is, but he's literally quoted as Chris Gethard, a writer for this. I bet he would love this. Chris Gethard, a writer for Weird New Jersey and the Associated Book series, concurs. Action Park was a true. That's how he's referred to. I love it. I love it. Okay. That's going to do it for us. It is now 4:00. And the water slide injuries are about to come rolling in. So,
oh God, I was just
a lot of gravel in people's legs and arms and elbows, and
a lot of like road rash of like, or like go down a slide that was dry, let alone like there's just a lot of bad stuff to happen on a slide.
The other thing that would happen in Action Park was like the Tarzan swing. You would go off this like rope swing into the water, and it was so freezing cold. People would literally like not be able to move their arms and legs because they would go into shock. Yeah.
It's insane.
This is my childhood.
It's just insane. Melissa Joy, dear friend, third unofficial co-host who's never been on the show. Jody, I have to play this. It's
our first and most important listener.
Listener, that's right. She's really like pulling the pieces together for me about Dana and that pin.
Okay.
Hi guys, it's Melissa Joy. How are you? I'm listening to the Pitt official podcast, and they just talked about the pin. Yes, it has to do with 4th of July, but it's vintage.
Oh.
And the backstory that they came up with is that it was like her grandmother's pin. And so they had an artist make like 10 more in case it got lost. Anyway, it's the 2 o'clock episode of The Pit. They do an interview with the costume designer, Lynn Powell. I don't know if she's related to Sandy Powell. I'll have to do a deep dive. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Melissa. Report
That's
back,
awesome.
let us know. Yeah, so maybe my theory of she spent her summers in Pittsburgh, it's actually the reverse. Maybe her grandma is an old South Philly grandma, which is a perfect kind of person. And so that's where that comes from. Maybe her like mom's from Philly, so
that would help with all of that sort of falling into place for sure.
Exactly.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yes, thank you so much. So, yeah, in the meantime, if you didn't already open your phone and leave us that 5-star review telling us what you think. Oh, Jody,
what?
We never said our PSAs.
Oh, because I didn't come up with one because I was too busy making a podcast.
Does that mean everybody has another week?
Well, why don't you say yours, and I'll try to think of one.
Okay, it's somebody turning to the camera and saying, it's just important to remember that you should never insert anything into the anus that does not have a flared base.
Of course, this is what you came up with.
It's important to remember that the anus does not really have an end, and it has a vacuum effect, and so...
I feel like I've seen this on other shows.
Oh, like, well, it's real. Like,
I know, but like, I don't know. Okay.
I'm telling you, it's when they have to get creative.
Yeah. I was going to try to come up with like some really obscure medical thing that's happened to me because I feel like, okay, here's the one that would be the most satisfying for me. Okay. Because I was gratified to have a PCOS patient, even though I have endo, it's the same kind of like lack of treatment, etc. But what I really have that impacts me the most with doctors is I have vasovagal syncope with medical things. I have fainted in more doctors' offices for no fucking reason. I am not anxious. I am not stressed. It is not a big deal. And yet you do something to one part of my body and my brain goes, whoop, nope, on the floor. I would love to see a patient whose only problem is that she fainted at like the dentist and they bring her to the ER and she's like, no, I fucking faint all the time. Okay.
And they're treating it like house. Like they're really like trying to come up with some really like, and they don't like, listen.
And the treatment is like, hey, put a candy in your bag and make sure you always have like some salty electrolyte stuff with you and you'll be fine. And no one would give a shit about that PSA, and it wouldn't really matter to most people, but it would matter to me. Shout out to all the frequent fainters out there, as Josh Gondelman says.
Yep.
All right.
The number of times I've had to say to somebody, I'm so sorry, I might faint. Don't worry, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Yep. I unfortunately don't get enough notice usually to sit down first. Anyway, where can they find us between now and next week if they would like to talk about their fainting spells and where they've happened?
You can find us at watcherspodnj@gmail.com, at watcherspodnj on Instagram and or TikTok. You can find me at AQ Andrea Q On Instagram.
And you can find me at Jodie_Mim, JODIE_MIM. And Action Park doesn't really exist as it used to anymore. I think it's still there as Mountain Creek, maybe. But if you want to find out and check it out and see where all these crazy things happened in my childhood, you could
bang yourself in the head,
get in the car, and go to New Jersey.